So for today's agenda, we're going to go through a couple of items here. One is we'll start more with a high-level discussion on Workday strategy and approach. Then we'll look at organizational readiness, right? Here's some planning. What are some things you can do to get your house in order before you begin discussions with Workday? Then we'll take a look at some negotiation levers or communication approaches. And then lastly, we'll go to some key commercial terms. So this will be more the material, financial, and commercial terms that will provide the foundation for your Workday relationship. So if we look at go-to-market approach, I'm just going to take these one by one here. So in the middle piece, you'll see we have 5 identified down the road here. So really there's 4 core products of financial management, HCM, adaptive business planning, Prism Analytics, and then the new one, student information systems. So for those of you that are on the line that are in the higher ed industry, this is certainly something you want to keep your finger on the pulse with. So now we've talked about the go-to-market approach, I'm going to shift over to organizational readiness and discuss some of the things you can do to prepare before you start engaging in discussions with Workday. So with organizational readiness, obviously there's a number of elements going on here, and we broke this up into 2 slides. So we're going to start off with more of the foundational elements, and these would be if you're embarking on a new initiative. Now we kind of have the foundational elements laid out. Let's kind of look at, again, it's organizational readiness, but these are things that relate more to execution, right? Focuses more on the sourcing, negotiation, preparation. And lastly, and this is one that often gets overlooked, anticipating your vendor, in this case Workday, goals, approach, and behavior. Right? Your goal ultimately is to influence Workday's decision-making process to get the outcome you want. So now you've done all your homework, you got organizationally ready. Right? We're going to take a deeper look at execution by discussing some of the negotiation levers, and communication approach considerations. So if we look at the negotiation levers, you see there's 8 of them we've identified here, and there's certainly others. And then lastly, executive relationships. These are really critical. Workday knows that your executives are the ones making these decisions. So get their executives involved, right? Your executives being involved demonstrates the seriousness of doing a deal, your seriousness and how much you value a true partnership and not just treating like a vendor. If you're able to do that with a compelling story, that's going to get Workday's executives involved. And when you have them involved, obviously they have the authority to approve non-standard concessions. So that's why it's important to bring them into play. Now we'll take a quick look at kind of some things related to communication approach. And I'm going to start with positioning. But I'd like to highlight here is kind of what matters to Workday. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. So those are some examples of some communication approaches. Obviously, there are others, but we just want to at least give you a few of those to think about. So now we've talked about the leverage points, the communications. Let's take a look at some of the more material, financial, and commercial terms. So here we broke down the commercial terms through a couple of themes here, and some of these really overlap, but we'll take them in the order they come in. Certainly, there are other commercial terms, but those are kind of the key ones that I recommend focusing on. And so these charts are based on actual Workday deals. We looked through our database and found 3 that were roughly similar size, scope, FSE count, and then we normalized them, which means we created one solution set with one FSE count, and then we applied the financial terms of the 3 companies to that standard scope. What it doesn't show, and this is the last piece I'll cover with, is the impact of additional purchases, right? Certainly over a 12-year period, you're going to make other purchases, whether it's more FSE quantity that you need for the products that are in scope, and certainly if you're going to expand into other solutions. So what this doesn't take into account is what the future price and discounting protections look like, right? The greater your upfront discounting, the better your future discount price protections are. So with that, I want to thank everyone for attending. Hopefully you found value in this.